Well, it's been about a week now that we've been reporting on an article out of Los Angeles, which has been saying that Hot August Nights is moving to Southern California for good.
And for about a week, we've been hoping to speak one-on-one with Hot August Nights CEO Bruce Walter. Well, I sat down with him today for about an hour and flat out asked him, is Reno's biggest event leaving the biggest little city?
We're not leaving Reno. It was born here, it'll live here.
And there you have it. Hot August Nights CEO Bruce Walter says the event is here to stay. So why would a Los Angeles reporter print that Long Beach would have the exclusive location in 2012?
So this article is wrong.
Right. From what I said, the answer is yes. My recollection is that what I said, Hot August Nights, California would be exclusive to Long Beach.
And Southern California is an untapped market, Walter says. While the numbers show 60% of Hot August Nights Reno participants are from the Golden State, internal reports have the Southern California figures quite low. 3% come from the greater Los Angeles area, 2% from San Diego, and 6% from other Southern California cities. So why didn't Walter just come out and say this last week?
I'm a business guy, I'm not a PR guy. In fact, somebody said to me, you flunked PR 101A. Well, hell, I never took the course.
He says the Hot August Nights board of directors made a collective decision to not go on camera and get involved in what he calls the political feeding frenzy.
We sent out a news release at the beginning of last week stating our position emphatically. Some of the media picked up on it, others didn't. And because the talking head wasn't available, it pretty much got ignored.
Since last week, Walter says his family's been harassed. He says reporters have knocked on his door at home, called his daughters trying to reach him, and now he's getting phone call death threats.
Walter also cleared up some rumors. He's never lived in Long Beach. In fact, he says he was born and raised in Chippewa, Wisconsin, and he doesn't own property in Long Beach. Tonight at 6:30, we go point counterpoint with some of the concerns raised by city leaders last week. The CEO of Hot August Nights says the event will stay in Reno for good. He's speaking out after a week of what he calls misinformation and what he calls a political feeding frenzy.
This is an election year. Come on, let's face it. There's a lot of political posturing that's going on out there.
Hot August Nights CEO Bruce Walter says last week's published report in the Los Angeles Business Journal spurred several opinions on what moving the event to Long Beach 1 week before the Truckee Meadows will do to our show.
We are very distressed that by adding an event in Long Beach, it has the very real potential to dilute this great success of the event here in Reno Tahoe.
This is not going to harm it. It won't dilute it.
We're all going through hard economic times. They've got $2 million in reserves.
Somebody doesn't know how to read a financial statement very well, I don't think.
Walter explains $1 million is untouchable, locked in a trust fund. The other $1 million?
Our food and beverage sales were off 40% last year. So anybody who owns a business understands you got to have a rainy day fund.
Reno Mayor Bob Cashel has said Walter questions the cost of the Reno police presence. Walter says the issue is the cost of paying 3 municipalities for public safety.
Between the municipalities, it costs us about $700,000. That's a big chunk of dough.
But according to the Reno Police Department, last year the estimated cost for all police services would cost $471,000. In actuality, it only cost $358,000, of which $262,000 was specifically for police double overtime.
If I were to break that down and look to $262,000 for double overtime to prevent a riot is worth it.
I'm not disputing what you're saying.
But he never told me about a long-term contract. Never. And if Bruce was here, I'd tell him right now.
I sat with the mayor the Monday before I left to go to Long Beach to do the news conference there, which was the 17th of June. And if I didn't convey everything thorough enough for him, then I owe him an apology. But in my mind, I did.
Walter acknowledges this event is a success primarily because of the volunteers. He sent them a letter last week explaining the future of Hot August Nights. We've posted it on our web channel, colotv.com.